Oh, there it goes. Very good. All right. First off, thank you very much for joining me for today's Lunch and Learn session by yours truly, Dan Hutka. This is my short disclaimer. I am an Oracle ACE director. This is one of my methods for sharing technology among the masses, is these weekly Lunch and Learns. I like doing them. It allows me to keep in touch with some of my material and share some of the good points from my past. This month is scripting month, and we're fast getting into SQL creating SQL, but I've got some fun tips for you today on some error handling and stuff in scripts. I am an authored expert. I actually have 13 books published, working on number 14. You can register on my website and get a weekly announcement of these Lunch and Learns, okay? And I usually advertise in there anything else that I've got going on. I also blog regularly on Toad World, and the material for these are out on Toad World, and the links are in here, okay? I do training on a regular basis, a flat fee type training. What I do is I let more people in over the web. I can come on site with my portable computer lab, though. These are my main courses. Go out to my website. I've got quite a number of courses that are available, including the material that the scripting course that I'm pulling some of this material from. So let me know if there's a training need at your site. And today's Lunch and Learn is additional Oracle scripting tips and techniques, okay? I will post the presentations and the slides shortly after this presentation on my website, and we will be ready to go here shortly. So March is scripting month, and I've got one more session in March, and we will touch on, like I say, next week we will go down a little SQL creating SQL. Okay, today's scripting techniques is more of error handling scripts and stuff. We're gonna review some of these examples. Let's start with this first one that I have on Toad World. Okay, and we'll just bounce into here. And these links are right in the presentation, so download the presentations and it's going to jump you right here. I've got nice write-ups in here, so there's the scripting tips and techniques. Basically, we've been talking about this before, making things run silent. These are the scripts, or the lines that make your scripts run silent. Feedback off, verify off, term out off, and echo off, okay? Here, I'm going to prompt you for some input. I want you to process. What I'm asking you for is user information. So I'm going to accept. There's my in variables. Remember, if it's coming into the script, I start it with an in underbar, in user, in password, and notice the keyword hide. Nothing will type after the prompt, okay? It's not going to make asterisks or anything. It's just that the cursor won't move. And then there's your connect string. So the first tip is, how do I know if I've got a good connect string? So we're gonna reset a couple of things here, and then I'm going to connect using that information coming in. And remember, if these variables got passed in, they become ampersand variables to SQL Plus, and this is a SQL Plus script. This would probably work equally well in Toad, SQL Developer, and some of the other tools. So I'm turning these back off, turn feedback on so that you can see the output, okay? And here, it's whenever SQL error exit. I'm going to exit the script if it didn't get logged in. So I'm going to set this. I'm going to turn a couple of the commands on so that you see the output, and I'm going to run a select statement. I'm just going to select anything from Dual. If I got logged in, okay, if I got logged in, it would not throw an error, and it would go on to the resetting the SQL error to continue, which would continue down through the script. If I didn't get logged in, no one's connected to SQL Plus, okay, at this point, this would throw an error that you're not logged in, and it would exit the script, okay? So this is pretty cool for checking your login credentials to make sure that that you've entered something valid for the rest of the script. Now, another little error handling technique is that SQL error, we can exit whenever there's some error, we can exit and throw out a return code. Okay, remember especially in Unix, but Oracle goes along with this convention as well. All the return codes that come out that were not successful, any errors, are all negative return codes. Okay, so it's going to throw out a -1 if it gets an error here, i.e. we're going to create this temp PS table as some select statement, whatever. If that didn't work, it's going to exit with an error code of 1. If it didn't do this update, it's going to exit with an error code of 2. Now, if you're running SQL Plus from a Unix script, okay, from Linux, Unix, something like that, inside there's my return code, RC, equals %, or $&. So when we run something, we're going to capture that whatever return code came out of the last command. So right above this would have been our SQL Plus, that username, password, connect string, at some script. Okay, and SQL Plus script. So if the return code's not 0, it failed. And then we're going to throw another return code out of here. Otherwise, it was successful. And we're just echoing stuff into a log file here. That's what this is doing. Single greater than will create the log file, double ampersand appends to it if it already exists. So here's how you check those. So you can check the return code for a -1, i.e. up above here. If a -1 came out, we can put an error code out, something like this. This is how you publish those and mix the two together. So you would check ampersand or $RC -EQ -1, then this failed. If it's a -2, then this failed. So, okay. The next thing that I wanted to show you, we'll go back to the PowerPoint, is some additional. Okay, all right. There we go. I got my little scribbler on here. And we'll bring this one up and take a look at this script. So again, this is just a little snippet for if you're going to be, these are some of the techniques I would use for an install script. I've got install scripts for my classes. If you're taking the class remote, I will send you these scripts to set up your environment, okay? One of the things that's kind of nice to know is, especially if you're going to be loading up something large in a class, is which table space do I work with in the script, okay? And this is a cute little one where I'm going to give you some table space information, okay? I'm going to show you the system table spaces that don't start with sys, or they're not like undo, just the regular table spaces from DBA free space. So this will show me the names of the table spaces. It'll spool this out. And then I'm going to ask enter the table space name, and I'm going to default it to users. Okay? So in this case, the default's going to be users. I'm just going to select users in there as we see down here. Now I'm going to decode what came in. So I'm going to ask you in table space name. There's my in thing again. I'm going to do a decode. I could have used a case statement here. If it's null, if there's nothing in there, I'm going to stick users in there. There's that default right there. That's how I do the default. Otherwise, I put in there whatever was entered. Okay? And then now, here's a cute little script, and I can expand on this, and I might even do a lunch and learn on this next part. We're going to set feedback off, heading off, turn out, ready off, right? And basically, if you didn't enter anything, if you entered an invalid one, okay, I'm going to put in here exit into the spool file. So where that table space name. See, there's the in name, and remember our column, there's our in and there's our out. So I'm going to reference the out name. If it's not in one of the valid table space names, it's going to put an exit in there. If it is in there, where it's not in, if it is in there, we get nothing in the file. So I'm going to spool an exit script.sql. I'm going to run this SQL statement, and then I'm going to start the script. Isn't this cute? So, if you entered a valid table space name, you go right on into the rest of the script. If you entered an invalid table space name where it's not in there, there's going to be an exit in there. Okay? And it's going to bail out of this. So one of the things that we can do with SQL Creating SQL is we can spool some useful information here. Okay? And I'm going to talk about it in another Lunch and Learn, but there's a way to put carriage returns in here. We could put a pause in here, invalid table space name with a pause at hit, so you have to enter a carriage return and then do the exit. So I was anxious to get this out, but I think that's another topic for possibly next week. So there's a neat technique for getting a table space name, verifying that it works. Now you can take this technique and use it for a lot of things. Okay, you can use it for a lot of things. We're just using it to verify what was entered there. But we can modify this and use it for a number of different techniques. If you would like, if you would like my error script example, just ask me for it. It's got these scripts in it. The next Lunch and Learn looks like I'm going to talk about some 3-up labels in PL SQL, a nice mix of PL SQL and SQL Plus to spool out labels, mailing labels. Okay? And then, like I say, I want to get back to this technique when we get into SQL Creating SQL. We will revisit today's topic, and I will show you how to enhance that to actually put some useful information out on the terminal. So, anyway, I hope you found this information useful, and let everyone know about these Lunch and Learns. Thank you very much for joining. Remember me for your training needs. And the presentations, the links to the Toad World with all the discussions here will be out on my, and this video replay will be out on my website shortly.